The deadline has officially passed for teams to use the franchise tag before the start of free agency, and the Ravens opted not to use it this season. This is the first time in 3 years that the Ravens have elected not to use the tag. Last year, they initially used it on Nnamdi Madubuike. The previous year, it was on Lamar Jackson. In both cases, the Ravens eventually worked out long-term deals with those players, so the franchise tag was really just a short-term Band-Aid as they work towards that long-term extension. Now, in terms of this year, it's not a big surprise to see the Ravens decide not to tag anyone. This has actually been the trend in the NFL, as only a few teams decided to use the tag this year. For the Ravens, I think there's two main reasons that the tag didn't make much sense. Number one, it's a salary cap. The Ravens are tight against the cap, and using the franchise tag would basically eat up the rest of their cap, and they'd actually have to rework some deals just to afford a player on that franchise tag. They don't really have the cap space to afford to do that, so that kind of limits the ability to go that route. Secondly, they don't necessarily have a player to use it on. Ronnie Stanley would be the most likely candidate, but Eric DeCosta said last week at the Combine that he's optimistic about getting a long-term deal done with Stanley before the start of free agency. And there are media reports over the last few days that the two sides are closing in on a new deal. That's the preferred method for both sides when you're talking about long-term contract extensions rather than a one-year franchise tag. It gives the player more stability, and it also gives the team the ability to spread out that cap hit over the duration of that contract. Now, of course, the Ravens have other free agents beyond Stanley, but they can still work towards new deals with those players prior to free agency opening next week. And in some situations, a player could go out there and test the market and then ultimately land back in Baltimore. Now, the start of the new league year is always busy. There's going to be a lot happening between now and next Wednesday when free agency officially opens. So to make sure you're staying on top of all the latest news and information, download the latest version of the Ravens mobile app, turn on push notifications, and we will send alerts straight to your phone as soon as news breaks. That's it for me on Final Drive. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow.